never know when these things are actually going live anymore. Like it used to give you like a little ding, and it would let everyone know. Now you have no idea. So I'm just gonna wing it. It says it's on. I hope this is recording and this is all doing its thing. Sup, Nat Kirk FM here with the top 5 picks for the last week of April 13th. We had a lot of awesome stuff. Basically, what is the top 5? The top 5 is that I read all the comics, all the fucking comics. And then I give you my opinion of what I thought the top 5 were. Of course, there were some runner-ups. Sometimes I'll do a disappointment of the week, not so much this week. Also, maybe we'll talk about some other predictions that I have for next week, some stuff that we should check out. I've got that list ready to pull up. And by next week, I mean tomorrow at New Comic Book Day. And I'm really excited because this top 5 was awesome because 4 of my top 5 picks this week are fucking indie titles. Yes, that is amazing. That is so exciting for me. I don't know if you guys, I should probably just put this on Front Street for you right now. I do love my superheroes. I do love my spandex and cape stories. I absolutely do. But with the comic industry and where it's going and all these new indie publishers coming up like Indie and Dark Horse, and you've got like Black Mask out there, you've got Alterna Comics, and you've got Boom Studios, and you have IDW. There are so many great new original stories happening in comic books and so many new voices coming out with some amazing stories to tell that I get excited about that shit. I mean, yeah, I read Lumberjanes, and yeah, I read Gem. Suck it. In any case, let's get right down to it. We're going to go into the top 5 this week. Actually, no, we're going to talk about some runners-up, some things I thought that were really good, as always. I think Rick Remender's Deadly Class is still top-notch. That was a great issue this week. Let's see. I have thoughts and feelings. I'm going to talk about this with Ian and Savannah in a future episode of Your Mom's Basement. We'll talk about that a little later. Mockingbird #2 hit the shelves last week, and it was fantastic. I am really excited for this mini. I kind of don't want it to be a mini after we're done. Also, this is the first time Bobby's boyfriend, who we know from S.H.I.E.L.D., makes his appearance in the comic book. So it's kind of like the Coulson thing where it's a cool character to the point where we actually have to put him in the comic books. And I love that. Get that out of there. And then what else did I have? Silver Surfer #3. I still love this series. I always talk about this series. I think Dan Slott and Mike Allred are a perfect team for this title. Like I said, it's an incognito Doctor Who series. But, you know, don't tell your friends they don't like Doctor Who. Just tell them to read freaking Silver Surfer because it's great. This is the 50th. Also, great cliffhanger. Really excited to see where it goes from there. I always have to show off the art. This one has Ben Grimm in it. I love it. I love Silver Surfer. What else also happened? I loaned it out, but the last issue of Guardians of the Galaxy was also fantastic. More Ben Grimm action. It's so funny because Bendis is writing a really fun Ben Grimm who seems to fit perfectly in the Guardians of the Galaxy roster. And this last issue just knocked it out of the park for me as far as like dialogue and watching Ben and Rocket Raccoon just really have a really glorious issue to themselves. And it was fucking awesome, so I definitely highly recommend that one too. In any case, let's get to the top 5 this week. Here we go. Number 5. Yeah, this one's a little weird and strange. We're going to go with Aftershock Comics. They're a new company. We're going to talk about them in just a second. Jackpot #1 by Ray Fox and Marco Vaella. I hope I'm getting that name right. I've seen Marco's art before, and it's a lot of fun. We'll kind of show some of that stuff off. Big bang boom, fucking boom, explosions in this thing. Also, Ray is a really cool writer that I think is definitely understated, but is really known throughout the industry by his peers. And he's writing a really fun series with this. As much as I can tell you, it is like about a group of con artists, and they are definitely rogues, and it's kind of got some of the flavor of the old Losers series. I don't know if you guys remember that. They're definitely running a con on a ship, on a gambling sort of thing. And you've got each person who is like a specialist in what they do. One's the genius, one's the mark, one's like the crooked card dealer working for them. But as much fun as all that stuff is, especially if you like Ocean's 11, stuff like that. I love that stuff. If you like that vibe, you're going to get a kick out of this series. And on top of that, it ends on a really interesting cliffhanger because these guys who are running the con against these criminals, I think there's a third party in play, but the way it's insinuated in this comic, the third party is very like, dark and mysterious secret society, like secret government thing. And a really cool spin on a old premise that never really gets boring for me. So please go check out Jackpot #1 by Ray and Marco over at Aftershock. Other thing we need to talk about, we got to watch Aftershock Comics. They put out a press release last year. They are now putting out titles. Some of the names that are attached to this series or to this company: Garth Ennis, Brian Azzarello, Warren Ellis, Ray Fox. You just saw that. I'm really excited with the names that they are drawing in with this company and this publisher. What kind of stories they're going to do? I think they're right up my alley. Let's keep an eye on them. Aftershock, go. Also, number 4, I'm not going to get too much into it, but by Boom Studios. Guys, I need you to read this comic, Kennel Block Blues. Everyone looks at me like I'm a little crazy, but it is anthropomorphic animals stuck in jail, and everything's kind of a, symbolism for another thing. And these, God, I'm going to do a full review on the series. It's only got one more issue for next month. There's nothing worse than reading a story that I'm so utterly in love with that I'm also kind of concerned about if it's going to have a happy ending. I don't know if this one's going to. I really, really don't know. But it's stuff like, it looks pretty grimy and dirty. And like I said, it's some people are going to get it. Some people aren't. I'm particularly in love with it because of what it does for comics. So that's some of the art and some of the gritty. But then this art team is amazing because they can switch styles, but kind of still keep it in their own. And here's a flashback. And then you've got regular humans and a cute, super little puppy that the whole story is revolving around. And hopefully I'm giving you enough here to kind of entice into giving this thing a shot. But like I said, it's just so good. I will do a full review when the series is all done, and maybe if the trade comes out. I want to have a discussion about this series. Boom. And then number 3 this week. Oh, this was awesome. Dark Horse Comics. Peter J. Tomasi, you know that name because he's been doing like the Batman and Robin series. Then it became like a Batman and Team Up series when Damian died and now Damian's back. So it was that. Okay, anyways, whatever. Shut the fuck up, Kirk. Tomasi is probably one of the most underrated Batman writers. I know he's going to take over Superman at some point with the new Rebirth series. So I'm really excited what he's going to do. He's so understated, but he tells some of the best stories. He really knows how to flesh out his characters and write awesome action sequences that have lasting impressions over the next few issues in his long-term storytelling. Fucking yes. But this is House of Penance by Dark Horse. And one, I love the macabre and the scary. Also, I like the fact that it takes place back in like late 1800s, early 1900s, and it focuses on a woman whose last name is Winchester. She is an heir to the Winchester rifle, legacy. We've discovered that she has buried her child and her husband, and now she employs all these vagrants and people to go and constantly around the clock are building her house in this giant estate that's just filled with rooms and staircases that don't go anywhere and doors that just lead to like a 3-story drop outside. It's very, very intriguing. It's also kind of based on, I think loosely based on like some other like Mad Woman stories. She definitely has some rules of the house. Any guy who comes in to work in the house has to surrender their guns, which is very strange because, the whole Winchester legacy. She is also slightly just not there. She does speak to her family on a regular basis, like they're still there. It's asking, the first issue asks a lot of questions, which is great for a miniseries, but there are questions that are so intriguing that I'm definitely in for this entire miniseries. Also kind of want to show off some of this art. The art is by Ian Bertram and Dave Stewart. Hopefully I'm not screwing those names up. But yeah, there's just some really cool, dark, macabre imagery going on here. But I also like the fact that it kind of plays with a little bit of the madness. Like this is kind of cool. That's an entire scene where, and this is kind of hard to talk about, it's an entire scene where a guy picks off a tribe of Native Americans, but then he goes over to all the bodies and he's putting arrows in all the bullet wound holes to make it look like they weren't shot with a gun, but it looks like a rival tribe and that they're warring. So that only adds to some of the mystery and intrigue in this story. Definitely go check this out. I am really into House of Penance. I'm really glad that I was able to kind of stumble upon that this week. And number 2 this week, literally the only main public take 2. This is live. It's not going to get edited. That stays in. Oh, well. So let's start over again. Number 2, Moon Knight. Number 1, the only big 2 comic that I read this week that I was like, fuck yes. And I'm going to tell you the names on this series, and you're not going to be surprised in the least. And I'm like, I love it. So it is Moon Knight #1. It is Jeff Lemire, who is just slaying it right now in writing all the titles. He writes all the titles. He's doing Hawkeye right now. He's doing Old Man Logan. He's also doing a bunch of stuff over at Image, like Descender and Platona, which are also amazing. And I'm missing out on a bunch of other stuff. I think he's got another Dark Horse title, I think called The Black Hammer, that previews went out this week. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do over there. Here's the thing about Moon Knight. I love him. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. Also, he's what I consider a critical darling. I think he's one of those characters that creators are always trying to get their hands on, even though there's not necessarily a hardcore audience for Moon Knight. It all started back when they rebooted him last year with Warren Ellis and his whole creative team that are working on Injection right now over at Image. Please go check that out. And then they've had like different teams, like Brian Wood took over for a little bit, Colin Bunn took over for 6 issues, and they've really kept that theme. But if you don't know about Moon Knight, it's Mark Spector, and he was like kind of like an Indiana Jones, like fortune for hire type dude. He wasn't necessarily a good guy, but he would like go hunt down treasure, or like hunt down the people that were going for treasure and kind of keep it for his own. Soldier of fortune, if you will. And he dies in front of like the Egyptian god of Khonshu. And then the god decides to take mercy on him and for like to pay penance, inhabits his soul, bestows him with the powers of the Khonshu. And he now has to go about, and he becomes the Moon Knight. And he's kind of like, it's kind of like the Shadow a little bit, where the guy's got a second chance and second lease on life, and he has to do the right thing. Unfortunately, the Khonshu may or may not have been knowing what it was doing. Mark Spector has been speculated that he suffers from multiple personality disorder. So a lot of different, like even Brian Michael Bendis did a great 12-issue run for a while, really exploring that concept. They haven't really done it a lot in the last year with some of these new stories. They kind of hint at it. They know that he's got a therapist that kind of keeps him in check. We think that the Khonshu and Moon Knight might actually be a whole other separate set of personalities onto themselves. I'm getting excited and starting to go over my words a little bit. That's okay. And so I think Jeff Lemire, this one opens up with Mark in a mental ward, questioning whether the whole identity of Moon Knight is real, if that was anything he actually lived through. Some of this art is absolutely fantastic. It is perfect right in there with Moon Knight. Look at that. Sometimes you kind of roll your eyes at a two-page spread, but you're like, yep, that was worth it. It needed 2 pages. So he's in a mental institution. Oh, see, that's a great panel right there too. They're taking some cues from David Aja from Hawkeye in the series too. And I'm really enjoying it. I love Moon Knight, but I love all the creative teams. Also, when Jordi Belair is given a credit for coloring on any comic, I usually pick it up. I think she's amazing. One of the hardest working colorists in comics right now. And she also, I think, just got nominated for an Eisner Award as of this morning. So reasons why you need to be picking up Marvel Moon Knight #1, because of the sordid history, and hopefully I gave you a little something to go off of, to give you an idea of who the character is. Definitely within the last 2 years, pick up any of those trades and check out that character. But #1 is Moon Knight, #1 by Marvel Comics, or #2, I should say. Again, getting ahead of myself, but it was a really fantastic issue. And then #1 this week, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. It is the team of Christopher Sebela, Robert Wilson IV, and Nick Filardi. I've been really excited and waiting for this series, and it turned out that it delivered in spades. #1 this week, ladies and gentlemen, the internet, the little tiny corner of the 4 people that watch my videos. This is #1 this week. Heartthrob. Heartthrob is awesome, and I'm just going to kind of do a quick gloss over of what the premise is. First of all, I'm going to show off some of the art, which I like is a little pulpy, especially because it takes place during the 70s. So I think this art works perfectly along with this story. Also, the narrative is very subtle but moves very quickly, which I think is very hard to do in a first issue when you're trying to give people a new idea. So I'm very excited for that. And you're going, Kurt, what the hell am I looking at? It's called Heartthrob. I'm just not quite sure what I'm looking at. Just looking at pictures of a girl and a guy. Well, the story starts off with our main protagonist, who is the recipient of one of the first heart transplants, because she was living sick and she doesn't live her life to the fullest because she's got a weak heart and bad health and that sort of thing. And like I said, it's during the 70s, and so they go, oh my God, we can put someone's heart in you. And it's kind of her going through the process of going back into a regular lifestyle, and kind of like getting used to it, but she's starting to have new emotions and feelings, and is starting to like learn new skills that she didn't really necessarily know before, but they seem very intuitive. And it's basically, they're kind of hinting at the fact that whoever the person was that this heart belonged to before, whatever those character traits are starting to imprint onto her. And if you were kind of a fan of Fight Club, and I don't want to give too much away because I really want you guys to go pick up this series, but if you're a fan of Fight Club, it kind of plays with that premise a little bit, especially with the big twist ending. So it's hitting all the right marks for me. It is such a well thought out premise. Also, I do love Sabella. He also works on Welcome Back, or We All Come Back, or We All Come Back, however you want to say that title, over at I think that's also a Boom Studios title, but look up Welcome Back, and the first trade is out, and that thing's been awesome. I thought it was really great. This is Ani. Ani took a chance on Chris and his team and their story, and I'm going to definitely talk more about this series as it comes out, especially if it stays as strong as this first outing is. It was fucking awesome. So, guys, that was the top 5 for this past week. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, and we got a couple things to talk about. Your Mom's Basement with Ian and Savannah and myself every Sunday over on my YouTube channel that this is on right now. Surprise, surprise. And basically, what is Your Mom's Basement? Your Mom's Basement is an interactive comic book club. So essentially, the week prior, if you follow us on Twitter and kind of stick to what's going on the YouTube channel, we'll let you know exactly what we're going to read the week previous. You go out or digital download or borrow, rob, or steal your version of whatever book it is that we're reading. And then you read along with it with us. And then we all meet here on Sundays, and then we talk about the book and the feelings and the driving motivations for the characters and how you felt during certain parts of the comic. And it's really a lot of fucking fun. Yes, it is a book club for comic books. But also, quick reminder, this week we're going to do Grant Morrison's Wonder Woman Earth 1. We're all very excited to talk about that. And then also we're going to talk about the finale, Lock and Key, number 6. And then after this week, next week, we're going to change the format a little bit because we realized that we talked so much, so long. Kind of like how you're figuring out what's going on with these videos right now. And we're going to try to keep it down to one book after next week. So we'll do one book, and then we'll also start talking about some of the weeklies that came out and open up that discussion. The best part is it's an interactive live show. So you guys get on the chat, you ask questions, you say, what about this, or how about that, or what was going on over here on this panel, and then we carry that conversation along on top of like some of our little insight. And like I said, I think it's going to be really more exciting because we will do like the one pre-decided title, and then we'll also do current weekly. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. And on top of that, don't ever get frustrated if you're not reading. But we are currently, all the live episodes get archived and labeled nice and neat. And then you leave comments down below and like the video. And then whenever you read that comic, you go back to that video. And then you start commenting in the comment section. And we keep that conversation going all the time. It's pretty much fucking perfect. So that said and done, that was the top 5 for this week. I was going to kind of look up some titles that are coming out next week to kind of like have some suggestions for it. Let's see if it's shipping on time because it's unconfirmed. But the guys over that did We Could Never Go Home, Matt Rosenberg, his first title, the first issue of his new title is supposed to come out this week called 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. I read the first preview, and it's amazing. I highly recommend that. Oh, there's also a Criminal, I think, 10th anniversary special edition something from Brubaker. So if you haven't read any Criminal or any of those series, that's a good time to hop on that. And yeah, those are going to be my 2 guarantees if they actually hit the shops tomorrow. I think that's what you should take a chance on. So in any case, guys, I am Kirk FM. Please find me over at Twitter at Kirk Likes Stuff. Also, please come back for this Sunday for Your Mom's Basement. We're really excited. It'll be our last 2.5-hour show, and then we'll try to condense it down to that 1 hour, like the little spiel I just told you guys about. So that should be pretty interesting. Also, what else do I need to tell you? That is pretty much it. I hope your day's going good. Keep reading all the comics, especially taking chances on those indie titles. And as always, please like and subscribe. I don't know if you actually want to do that, but if you do have like comic book nerdy friends that think they would find this interesting, please tell them about it too. Also, the whole point of this is because we are trying to build a community, a comic book community, and that's what the internet was invented for. So when we talk about like some of these obscure titles that I don't think are necessarily from Marvel or DC, it's very important because I think there's people out there that are a readership that are definitely looking for it. So thank you so much. I'm off to work. I'm also on a crap ton of painkillers because I really hurt my back last night. Don't know why or how. It comes with age. Yeah, and if you make it this far in the video, thank you so much. It means a lot. So as always, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and tell me down below where I got it right, where I got it wrong, what I'm reading, and what you should be reading, and what I should be reading, and all that good stuff. And let's keep fucking reading. Alrighty, guys. I will see you later. Mwah. That was weird. I just blew you guys a kiss. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna let that one go. See ya.